All right, all right. Hey guys, this is part three. If you didn't see part one and part two, you'll want to start at the beginning. The link to part one is there. If you watch part one, you'll see that there's a link to part two in that one, and then eventually it'll bring you over here to three. So we left it on another cliffhanger, and so I got to sort out what this means because it could go in two different ways. I'm not going to recap everything. If you're here, I'm going to assume you've watched the other two in succession. If you don't, you will not know what's happening here. So let's see. How do I look at that? Justice and Page of Swords. Okay. Oh, thank goodness. So we began this entire story with a Queen of Swords energy. Now I can't find where the card went, but the original Queen of Swords was this ethereal queen who was standing there projecting outward saying, I just need to know, was this real? Was this not? There she is. Okay. They are now coming and showing up as a King of Swords. After all is said and done, they are finally thinking through things, matching after contemplating, like, wait a second, I'm healed, I miss her, but she did hurt me. And I just don't know. I mean, I don't know if I could marry somebody who would hurt me when I was hurting already. And then they finally have it hit them because they're supposedly a King of Pentacles now. They've matured. And I was given a lot of flack in part two about like, whoa, kings are mindful that they're not the only person on earth. That's part of the maturity that comes with characters, progressing into becoming kings, queens, emperors, and empresses, is they become self-aware that they're not the only people who have feelings. They're not the only people that go through crap. They're not the only people that are doing the best they can, even though they're scarred and wounded as well. They think about other people's journeys and not just conceive of their own. And so I was kind of like, a lot of it was worrying me that they weren't seeing anything or contemplating anything outside of their own kind of like harbored bad feelings toward the person who they know loves them, who they know is their Two of Cups, who they know is their Six of Cups, but they're still kind of like, yeah, but I'm still kind of like, she did hurt my feelings at one time. And so for them to be becoming a King of Swords, it's funny how these two, when they get more logical, this is a sign of them actually being healed. When they can see things through a different lens, they finally are looking and contemplating and conceiving, taking that leap and saying, wait a minute, what if here I am mad that she kind of hurt me back when I already had hurt feelings, when I was not healed, when I was still wounded, but what if she was wounded? Amen. Because we saw she was very wounded. She was on a hermit's journey herself. We that was a big reveal in part two. So all of a sudden they're starting to see the injustice. So for me, when justice shows up at all, it's when there's something unfair that's been going on. And this is understanding it, the light bulb moment. This is the beginning of starting to unravel the idea that, wait a minute, what if it's been really unfair of me to keep thinking that she hurt my feelings? How dare she? And even though I'm healed now, and even though I know she loved me, she really did hurt me. So I just don't know that I can forgive her. I don't know that I would marry somebody that had ever hurt me. They had never considered, wait a minute, I was so wounded that I didn't give her any kind of security. I didn't give her any kind of knowledge as to whether or not there was a future. We had that Three of Wands that came out sideways, part two. And I never stopped to think, what if she was really hurt? What if it wasn't just me who was hurt? What if she was really hurt too? And that's what we saw in part two. Both of them had I was giving the analogy of their cups of love. One had like maybe an ounce of fluid in it, and then theirs had maybe 3 drops in it. But I think they had never considered, wait a second, not only was I wounded, but she might have been too. She might have been trying to do the best she could, but maybe I hurt her too, because she was also already wounded. Oh, maybe this was unfair of me to expect somehow she was supposed to be there, nurture me, give to me, make sure I never felt like she'd inflicted a wound upon me, because maybe she was hurt too. Maybe even I hurt her. Okay, we're starting to understand how unfair it is to expect others to somehow give us what we need without ever considering, but what if they had needs too? I was wounded. What maybe they are too. It's really easy to become a victim and only cry for our own boo-boos and wounds, unless we can remember that, hey, maybe that person is going through their own level of traumas. Like, what do I really know about their life? That's such a poignant message, and it's such a good, like, like it pulls on our leash and makes us go, oh wow, maybe every time I get bent out of shape over something, maybe I should consider, just because that upset me, what if they had something even more upsetting that I don't know about? Maybe that's why they behaved the way they did. Okay, so unraveling this, thinking about this, that I'm proud of this king for getting there. Strength card in the reverse. All of a sudden, they're starting to be scared. They went from being very full of themselves, knowing she loved him, knowing she was really important, but sitting there in that kind of judgy energy of, yes, but I don't know that I'd marry her. I mean, yeah, I know she loved me a lot, but she also hurt me. I don't know that I'd marry her, because we saw the Hierophant in the reverse. Now we see they're not holding their head up so high. Um, Bob Dylan, now you don't act so proud. Now you don't. How does it feel? That's the song. Bob Dylan. How does it feel? Um, Now they're actually scared. What if I need to come in and give an apology? What if I was the one who was unkind to her? What if I never considered anything about what was going on with her? What if she was super wounded herself? What if she was not a queen in the upright? Or I thought she had everything she ever needed and wanted. She was in such a much better place than me. I only just now understood. Oh my God. My brain just made the leap that what if she was trying to give the best she could to me and she was in a severely depleted energy? Oh my God, that would mean I have been harboring mean thoughts toward her, or certainly un how do I want to say it? Unhospitable thoughts, holding her to a standard that I didn't even hold myself to. So now I'm worried. What would happen if I came forward and actually made an apology? They went from, I mean, I know she's my Two of Cups, but I don't think I want to do anything about it. I just don't know that I could, accept or forgive that she had ever hurt me, to, oh my God, what if it's me? And I need to be asking for an apology, or for forgiveness. Wow. Emperor to the Queen of Swords. So here's the thing. We've seen them morph through a couple different styles of lions now. We saw the Strength card in, I believe, part 1. We see it again here in part 3 in the reverse, where now they're scared. What if, and I will say this also, that's a feminine lion. They might be contemplating, what if she was really scared, and what if I actually added to her own grief? Because this is about them recognizing, starting to comprehend how unfair it would be for them to expect that she's supposed to be perfect. She was not supposed to have any of her own fears or hurts or wounds. They only saw her as somebody who didn't have those. It was all about them. I have hurts and wounds, and she wasn't very considerate, even though I know she loves me and I know I love her. All of a sudden, it's like, oh my God, what if she was scared? Maybe I owe her the apology. Maybe, hell, maybe now that I feel so much better, maybe I want to come in and I actually want to be the protector toward her. Maybe I want to take the lead, instead of, once they were saying, I don't think that I would really forgive her or be able to deal with her again, even though I know this is really important. And now they're changing that tune because they finally started to see. It's kind of like they said, I need to cowboy up. I'm actually genuinely healed, and I'm just now starting to recognize how my actions could have impacted someone, and how kind of thoughtless I was in regards to, if I was that wounded and I didn't give them any kind of security at all. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Maybe it's me that owes an apology to her. Maybe I need to come in and I need to be the protector. Maybe I need to come to this Queen of Swords and make my intentions very clear. Maybe I mean, did I ever tell her how I felt about her? Or was I too wounded to do any of that? Let me see. Who were they in the past? Six of Swords sideways. They were someone who had not, they were still crying in their room over something else. And they weren't moved on from something, even though they were acting as if they were. So they really should not have been trying to tangle with her. What about her? Let's hold her just as accountable, right? This is the accountability. Part 3 is all about accountability, I think. On her side, 9 of Cups upright, 7 of Coins sideways. She did give off vibes like her life was great. She was super happy. She was not. Her life was not stable. She was trying to find stability. She might have just barely come out of a difficult phase of her own life and felt so much happier because she was reclaiming some things, but she didn't have her feet on solid ground. 7 of Coins sideways, she was not stable, but she probably gave off an air of like, oh, everything's perfect. I'm super happy. I have nothing in the world wrong. That's kind of the knee-jerk reaction if someone has been through like a lifetime of lack of stability and then they finally feel like they're gaining a little bit of traction and they're hoping that their future is going to be better. She might have been really excited when she met them. She might have given off the vibes that, you know, she was super confident, everything goes her way. No wonder they were irritated and thought, here, everything is perfect in her life. So this is what she projected. No wonder they were irritated. That makes sense. It doesn't mean that she was lying and pretending like, oh, you know, my life is 24 karat gold. It's just that her attitude, she might have felt really happy. But what's ironic is it might have only been because it's by contrast. So what I mean by that is if someone's life has actually been a heavy burden. I mean, being a farmer is extremely hard work and is 24/7. You don't get summers off and vacations off because that's your growing season. If you have livestock, you never take a vacation. I know, I was raised like that. If you rely on the earth for your food and you're the one growing it, there's no rest ever. You work a 9 to 5 job and you still have another 9 to 5 when you get home, and it's year round and it never stops. So the reason I'm saying all this is because that's what we see here. Her life was difficult. It was a lot of work, and she still wasn't in a stable place, but she had planted things that she was excited about. So she came across, even though she hadn't seen anything yield results yet, she probably didn't have much of a firm footing at all in her life, but she was excited about projecting like my future is going to be better. So she was in this bubbly, everything's coming up roses kind of attitude when the reality of her own life was uncertain, but she had a lot of hope that life would be really good. The only reason I try to explain this card in that context is because we got farmers on it. So I have to put it in a context of like the reality of this. It's not an easy card. This is hard work. The 7 of Coins is always hard work, but you put a farmer on it and it's like, whoa, it's really hard work. So I think her vision of a happy life, they had no context for why she seemed so bubbly and like her life was so perfect. She was just excited that she planted a crop that was maybe going to grow. And this could have been anything, right? This could be somebody who was just getting themselves established like in a new career path and they had a lot of hope that it would blossom. She might have been, you know, really happy about how her huge amounts of effort were maybe going to yield something. So she was maybe disproportionately joyful. And so they mistook that for, oh, you just have a magic genie that just makes your life perfect. Everything's great for you. I'm super wounded. You don't even know. And you're not even being kind to me. So you hurt my feelings when your life is so great because you can't even begin to comprehend how awful I have it. But they didn't comprehend that I don't think her life was so great. She was on a hermit's journey too. We saw that in part 2. They now are contemplating, what if she didn't even have a foundation? What if she was out there swinging in the wind on her own, but she was still happy or showing that she was excited, but she didn't actually have any kind of cushion or stability under her? They were too wounded. Look, this is what happens when you get two wounded people, both of whom, you know, we can all only see the world through our own lens, but in particular, we got people that are not really in a stable place. They're not really over wounds. She was in a place of trying to build something. They were in a place of trying to get over something. So neither one of them had true stability when they, you know, came into an energy together. So why did these two meet at all? I mean, I think it's really good that they did. Five of Swords and Queen of Cups. The big picture here is the reason these two ever met. It's not so that they could cause each other hurt and grief. It's to show the difference when love prevails, when kindness and softness and gentleness. And you notice that our Queen of Cups, which is the Queen of Love, sits here on the throne that's made out of the amethyst crystal. It's like so much healing. Love is healing. Sometimes when we're healed is also when we can create better love. But when we're hostile toward that, what we keep doing is we walk away from each other. We can't believe someone would cause us hurt, never considering that what if I just caused them hurt? I don't know what shoes they've walked in their lifetime. But if these two had operated with more love, they might not have had the conflict. On the other hand, it says, but these two had to have the conflict before they could get to this place of love. So we could say love heals things. Love also can maybe prevent conflict, but love can also help to heal things. So the fact that there is love here, and it's helping characters gain a broader perspective, and it's helping characters to comprehend life through each other's eyes. Let me ask finally for her, has she really contemplated what wounds they may have had? I mean, she knew something was off. The Moon, the Six of Wands, she is unaware. She thinks still that perhaps they were just in a place where they pop in and out of people's lives and they're just, why does she still think that? She's unaware. She doesn't know. Are they someone who doesn't even think of her? It's just whatever. She was so confused, I think, by what they did or didn't want with her. I mean, we've seen that all the way through this. She said, I know that I can't figure out what on earth happened, why they didn't give anything to me. Maybe they didn't have anything to give, or were they just a Knight of Wands? She's always been confused. Were they just a Knight of Wands? Were they just, I don't know really who they were at all. So there might have been a lot hidden from her. They hid a lot from her. Even here, they're hiding in this room crying. So I'm wondering if they're not someone who wasn't really good about giving her a lot of information. But let me see. Why is she still having the Moon card? Hidden. She doesn't know. Six of Coins. She may not know anything really about their life. She may be not sure. Do they have like some huge comfort zone in money and family and like, it's so funny. They both think that the other person's life must have just been golden. They probably have everything. They probably have so much support around them. Remember, she's over here in reality as someone who didn't have support around her. She was someone who was trying to plant a new life for herself. She may be someone who's used to doing it herself, so she's assuming that maybe if they were just a Knight of Wands who popped in and out of her life, maybe they had a lot of other people that are more interesting than her, a lot of other people that are a big support system, business. Their life is really well put together, so they can afford to just bounce in and out whenever they want. She doesn't know. The only thing about her, she's not necessarily assuming it. She's unsure of it. That's how it began. She just wondered, was any of it ever real? And she's like, I guess maybe they just had everything that they needed and I was just some weird thing to play with. So she didn't quite give them a bad rap. She was always questioning it. What was this? Eight of Cups, Page of Coins. All she knows is that they walked away after not giving much. And so she never knew why. She's like, I guess maybe they got a better offer. Is this all going to be cleared up? Because we saw them coming in as an emperor to that Queen of Swords. Yeah, it's going to get cleared up. All this blockage is going to be falling down. And I think these two will finally get to the part where they actually talk. They're coming in to give an apology is interesting. And then she may have some of her own to give in return. All right, I'm going to finally end this. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Bye.